Hello there, and welcome to my little arty corner here on YouTube. I'm Angela Porter. I love to create art, particularly love to draw with pen, and sort of very stylized, very abstract, very nature or architecture, all sorts of things inspired, whatever catches my attention. So thank you for joining me. Oh, and I like to share what I do, my thoughts, how I do things, in the hopes that it will inspire or help you or encourage you to be yourself. And if what I say isn't you, then I'm not going to be offended, because we're all different, and at least you'll have found what you're not. So if you're seeking for what kind of artist you are or what you like, you can tick me off your list then, which is fine. So yes, so thank you if you've subscribed, thank you if you've given thumbs up for videos, left comments. I appreciate it all, it's wonderful. So what have I got in front of me? I have got a pile of paper. Yeah, disaster. My sense of my place in space over the last couple of days has been appalling, and I've been knocking things over left, right and centre. Water and coffee over artwork yesterday. Yesterday I filmed a video, or rather I thought I had, and it turns out I didn't press the record button. And after that I just thought, I just can't do this again. I'm tired. I've done a full day's work. I kid you not. Anyway, let's have a look at this. Here I've got lots of little pieces of paper that I have cut out of some paper. It's just white cardstock. I'm not doing anything fancy today, and I'll explain why. I'll show you something I did. Did this one survive? This did survive. There we are. This is what I actually made in yesterday's video. These are 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. About 5 centimetres square, is it? No, those are 5 centimetres. These are 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. These are 2 inches by 2 inches. Okay. And they are sort of like sample patterns, things I could use as a background pattern. But I have added some glitter gel pens covered by a clear glaze pen. The pens I used for drawing are not waterproof. They're not permanent. And I tried Mod Podge with them, I tried Liquitex with them, and they just bled like nobody's business. But I have found something that will seal artwork, even when it's with water-soluble stuff, and it works a treat. So I'll tell you about that later. On the back, this was meant to be, or is meant to be, yeah, it got hit by the coffee spill. I can tell. I kid you not, at least it didn't hit the ink too much. I've got some don't ask. Just a note of what I'd used and everything else, and you saw my secret there to sealing my artwork. So I'm going to make use of these little 2x2 pieces, but I do want to add some colour to them. And I've decided I'd rather like to add... Oh, have I got those at hand? No, I don't. Put them somewhere safe. It's okay. I'll use this one. And I'm going to use one of these sort of like foam applicator tools. These ones are, I don't know if you can see, they're domed at the top. And they work far better than these things, so that one can now go out. The foam, I don't know if the foam's the same stuff or different, but it seems a lot firmer. And I do like it. Right, I've got some pinks out here, pinks and purples. And I just want some very soft kinds of colours. And I'm going to go today, this is Victorian Velvet. So I'm just going to add some to this dauber, or this applicator tool. I'm going to add some on quite randomly. And I don't want to cover over the whole piece, because I want to use a different colour as well. I must probably go with tea dye and possibly a different colour then for outlining and so on. some of them will have a bit more on than others. Some will have quite a darker colour perhaps. It just depends how it works out. I'm not trying to be careful about it, but I just thought you might like to see the kind of mess I can get myself into with these things. Right, now this one now belongs with my pinks and purples. So that can go away. Woohoo is all I'm going to say. Woohoo. Woohoo. Who sang that song? Woohoo. It'll come to me eventually. Right, so I wanted to add another colour. I'm going to add tea dye, which is a nice, soft, gentle, brownish colour. And I think it will go quite nicely with this and give it that aged, kind of vintagey look. Ooh, that one's much darker, isn't it? In places, and I'm fine with that. It is what it is today. I'm not stressing myself about anything. I've had a busy day. I've now got just 6 of the templates for daydreams to ink in. So I'm managing to get 3 a day done before my mind goes numb completely. I enjoy it, but I find it, I'm working on the computer, and after a while I just think I need physical pens. I need things that I can actually touch and feel and hear them, which is, it's fine. I do love doing digital art, but I sort of like, it's also nice to have a break from it. Okay, I'm just fiddling around inside my thing here. So shall I put, what's that one? Oh, that's grey. I don't want that one. What's that one? Black soot. I don't want black. There's the one I was looking for. So instead of using vintage photo, which is the usual archival ink I've been using, I'm going to use ground espresso, which is a darker colour, but I think I'll enjoy it a bit more on these, just to go around the edges, just to give a dark edge to each of these so you can see exactly where it finishes. Now, whether I draw on all 4 of these in this video, I don't know. It is 20 to 6 in the evening. I've only just had lunch. I got so engrossed I forgot. Oh, I've got 5 of these. I only thought I had 4. Shows you how much attention I was paying. Shows you how tired I am. I didn't have a good night's sleep last night. I had an upset stomach. I had very bizarre dreams. And I mean totally bizarre. Sheesh. And I'm just still thinking, why on earth did I have a dream about that? Who knows? Who knows? But it's just a bizarre dream. It's of no consequence whatsoever. You just wake up thinking, that was unsettling. And it was unsettling. I found it quite unnerving, actually. So I've now got all of these edged just a little bit with the ground espresso. Oh, come on, close, will you? Yeah, I'm having problems with just simple tasks. And these other pieces, I've got all kinds of sizes, shapes. Remember, I'm talking about doing a sort of like non-junk journal that's a mixture of sketchbook, art journal, commonplace book, whatever grabs my attention at a time. So I'm going to put those somewhere out the way. I know I wanted to do, and I'm going to do this now. Right, me grab that. And I want the brown back, because I've got a set of clear stamps here and a little acrylic block. You can pick these up for not a lot. I bought these on Amazon for a couple of pounds. And I want to use some of the little blots. I quite like that pile of blots for today, just to add some background texture to them. See, I could have done this with real coffee, couldn't I? Not. No. And I'm going to use tea dye and see how tea dye works out with this. Oh, look, that's pretty. Yeah, we'll put some of that on. And if I have them hanging off in places, oh, I quite like the edge there because there's lots of little dots on the edge. So that makes it quite nice. Yeah. If you turn it around, it doesn't look exactly the same each time. So, Distress inks are fine for inking. They won't give us clearer ink as, say, archival inks. But I'm not interested in perfection because A, I'm not a perfect stamper. This is why I tried card making and it just frustrated me. Much prefer to draw my own. What I often do is I design like Christmas cards and I have them printed, as many as I need, so they have a certain something about them. Let's put some there. Let's have a look. I'm going to put some in the middle and some that fade. So I'm using what they call second generation stamping. So it's whatever ink is left on your stamp after you've used it, even stamping it off on paper. And because this ink isn't permanent, it will just clean off on the paper. So I've splattered everything here. There we are. That was easy, wasn't it? So give me a second while I just pop things away, because if I don't do this while I think about it, we're going to end up in a bit of a pickle. Let me tell you that for now. And I will. So yeah, so I didn't have a lot of sleep last night and I managed to throw water everywhere yesterday afternoon, or yesterday evening, like a pint of water. And then last night when I woke up on and off, and I woke up really thirsty, so I went downstairs and I thought I only ever drink weak coffee. It's basically quite milky hot water with a little bit of coffee in for flavour. And I brought it upstairs and I spilled in a pint mug, and I spilled more than half of it. It was everywhere. So I was there at a stupid o'clock this morning, cleaning my desk, cleaning the floor, changing my bedding because it splashed over my bedding. That went into the washing machine then, and I'm just here going, okay. And all I've done today is bat things over, and I know what it is. It's hormones. I'm almost positive of it, because this is what happens before perimenopause hits. But now I'm on HRT, it seems to be happening more again. Great, happy days. But there we are, less of that. So I've got these here. Now in this pen here, this one here, I want a piece of paper. Oh, I got something here I can use. This one will do. I have emptied this TWSBI pen. This is the one with the fine nib. Hang on, does it say F at the bottom there? It does. Blimey. So this has got a fine nib in it. So I've taken the black Documentus ink out, and in it I've put some antique copper diamine ink. And this is for fountain pens. It can stay in fountain pens, but it's not permanent, sadly. A permanent ink, it is water soluble. So what I can use to add colour and shadow and so on with it, I'm going to be limited with. But that means that I get to draw with beautiful coloured ink, with beautiful pens as well. In fact, I bought a selection of colours from Diamine, and they come in little 30ml bottles, and they do sell them, I think, in 50ml ones. So when I decide what colours I use the most, this one is almost certainly to be one. But I got some oxblood coming tomorrow, which is a real red brown, more red than brown. So I shall be intrigued by this. So I've got to be careful how I use these and what I do with them. I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well, is I'm going to zoom in. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start by drawing borders around here. So I've had quite a few wobbly days of recent as well. because I have been pushing myself a bit too hard with work and with some other responsibilities, and I've ended up needing an awful lot of sleep. I really need sleep now because I didn't have enough last night really, but I think I'll be okay. And excuse me. And my focus has to be on getting daydreams done. I should have it done end of Thursday for me, which is Thursday morning in America, for the publishers. Then they get to decide which two of these ones I'll add colour to, and I usually have a bit more time to do that, which is good because it'll take me a full day, if not longer, to add colour to a colouring page. I do tend to do things quite detailed, even my colouring. Yeah. Okay, so I've got this going on here, and I'm going to put inside each of these a rotated square, or a diamond if you will. So I'm doing this the best I can. As much as I love doing digital art, nothing has come close. I draw on my screen with a pen, but I needed to clean the screen yesterday because the pen wasn't running smoothly enough. Now it's running too smoothly over the screen. But it's just not the same as using something like this and paper. But they each, I'm not saying one is better than another, it's just a different experience. And I use digital arts now for colouring books and for other things at times because it's easy to make adjustments, it's easy to change, it's easy to alter colours and so on. And it's really easy. I say easy. It's a lot quicker to do mandalas because you use a symmetry tool. So you basically draw one segment, I suppose, of the mandala, and the symmetry tool repeats it all the way around. Which means I can focus on, rather than trying to make all my repetitions perfect by hand, I can focus on the patterns and the shapes and interweavings and things like that, which I'm actually far more interested in than using a compass and protractor and rulers and making a right mess every time I try and draw a grid, because I ain't the best with things like that. I never have been. Okay, so I like this. What I've done is I've drawn the diamond inside the first inner square, and then I've drawn another square behind. What I'm going to do with this square is I am going to colour these corner pieces in with this ink. So what the colour on here is more true to the colour of the ink than it was on the paper I used yesterday, because yesterday I'd used some paper that I'd coloured with distress oxides. And when you add anything with water into distress oxide, it bleaches the distress oxide, but then it can also affect that bleaching is because the sort of chalky stuff or white stuff comes up from the distress oxide. And then it affects the colour of the ink. Whereas distress inks don't do that. They might dissolve in my fountain pen ink as I go over the top, but there's such little distress ink on the paper that any way that colour's added to this ink, it won't change it. So what was I wittering on about before this? Do you know what? I can't remember. It's been a sunny day today, not overly hot, which is really nice. It's been comfortable all day. Mind you, having said that, I've had a fleecy top on all day as well. Not just a fleecy top, I have been dressed, but needed a layer of fleece. I think we've got a couple of warm days ahead, and then I think it's a return to the wet and cold, though I could be wrong. But it wouldn't surprise me. It is Britain I live in after all. The standing joke is, oh, we've had our 2 days of summer. We've had more than that. But, we moan about the weather, whether it's sunny or cold, wet, snowy, dry. There's always something in Britain to moan about, trust me. And I feel, and we all go, it's awful, isn't it, when all, you know, the awful things that have happened in Maui with the wildfires there, and all the heat wave across Europe we've had, and the huge floods in Australia, and we're moaning about it being a bit hot. Last year it was seriously badly hot. So my next step now is I'm just putting a circle approximately in the centre of each one. And then these, I'm going to put a petal shape up into the corner of this, like so, because I just think I need some flowers today. I've been drawing flowers actually. I think there's flowers in every single template I've done. It's one of my signatures, I think, is I managed to work flowers into just about everything. So glad I got 3 done today though, but that is really my limit at the moment. I'm in danger of burning myself out otherwise. I don't think I've recovered from my burnout back in February. I say think, I know I haven't. So I've now got this, which is a perfect kind of diaper pattern that you'd find on medieval manuscripts. Now then, what I be having the year, I found some pens, all sorts of pens. I want to have a look at this one actually. Where did I put that little bit of paper on? I'll use that one. This was, there's another one there. This was new today. These are red gold dual metallic pens from Pentel. Oh, you can see the red that's in there, if you can. But catch the light, depending how the light catches, it's either gold or red. I have got, now excuse any rattles, because the coffee managed to go in this tray of pens, so I had to wipe all of those down at stupid o'clock this morning. So this is the gold one, just for comparison. This red gold is going to go beautifully with that. And somewhere I've got silver ones, and I've also got coloured ones somewhere, but where they are I don't know. But I thought the red gold is quite coppery in colour, isn't it? The silver's got sort of black and silver with it. They change colour depending on the background, so I am going to make use of this red gold here, red and gold. I'm going to put some right in the middle here, because I know if the from yesterday's attempted recording, actually apparently I didn't even attempt to record. I forgot to press the record button or start capture, video capture. That actually looks really good. But what I've got here to seal those are, where is it? There. I've got a clear glaze pen. These are by Sakura, and they put a layer of, the ink dries clear, and this one in this case clear and glossy and raised, and it's great for sealing things like this glitter in so it doesn't get brushed off. I've got black ones and I've also got white ones, and I have to be careful not to confuse clear glaze and the white glaze. You can tell the difference. The white glaze has got a white top, the clear glaze has got a slightly clear top, but it does a fab job. So if I seal this here, or if I want to seal this ink on, even on waterproof pens, by using something like Mod Podge or whatever, then this will seal the glitter in so it doesn't get spread out, because this moves awfully with any kind of medium, whether it's Mod Podge, whether it's matte medium, gel medium, whatever. I know this from the past. So I think that's mostly dry. And this really does. It comes out slightly milky. Just need to get it moving again, because once it's been left, but I just dab it over the top. Make sure I'm sealing all the glitter in. I'm not dragging the pen over the glitter. I want the glitter to stay where it is. I don't want to move it. But once it's dried, that glitter will be sealed in. And this is waterproof then. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pop this then to one side. Gentle pressure with Sakura jelly roll pens, gel pens, because the ball in them acts like a valve, and the lighter you press it, the more the ink can flow out. So actually it's better if I press it and hold it, because more ink comes out, rather than dab, 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 dab. Word of warning though, don't go back when the ink is getting tacky, because all you'll do is make a mess. So I'll clean that off, because I think there'll be some glitter on there. There is just a little bit, and there's some ink as well. But I'm going to leave that dry. It takes a few moments, but you can see that I've got quite a shiny top already on there, but it's not very see-through, it's a bit milky. But it is actually dimensional. I don't know whether it seems to show up with the shine. It's got that sort of domed feeling. It does go a lot flatter when it dries though, sadly. So I've put that to one side. Okie dokes. I think I'll use, I've got a black pen here. This is a Platinum Preppy. It's an 03 pen, which means it's slightly broader than this one, just a bit. But in here, again, I've got water-soluble ink. It's just platinum black ink. It's not their carbon ink, which is a permanent ink. It's pigment ink, which you have to clean out of the pen after every use. It's not advised to be left in there. So So this is why I'm interested in seeing about these pens that are water soluble, and seeing how I like them, or something for a bit different. So again, I'm just going to split this into 4. I'm going to approach this in the same kind of way, but I'm going to do something that's a bit different as well. Get myself comfy here. So it's been a bit of a funny week. I think the pollen's high here because I'm snuffy and snorty and coughy and snotty. I think we've had warnings about high pollen with the warmer, sunnier weather. It's been a bit wet for plants to release their pollen into the air of late. It's like this, but what I'm going to do here is with these, I am going to join them like this before I do any more, because it's easier to see what I'm doing before I fill the squares in with anything else. So it looks like panels on a wall or a ceiling, which is called coffering, an architectural term. So I'm going to put another square inside, because I can. It's amazing how many patterns, grid patterns, you can come up with just from the same starting point, and just by adding things as we go along. Now again, I'm going to draw a diamond with, straight sides in each of these. Have a look and see what I'm going to do. They're not perfect, the Sides aren't all exactly the same length. I'm not exactly finding the middle of the square. Am I worried? No, not one bit. Okay, so I've done that. What I want to do now is I'm going to split the diamonds, not top to bottom, but from side to side. So we'll get a pattern of diamonds, smaller diamonds inside the diamond, as it were, like so. And then what I'm going to do, I am going to add black, the two of them, and they're going to be diagonally opposite. So this will take me a little while with my pen here, and I'm not going to get a different pen because the black here, it looks like it's more blue black. I'm wondering if I picked up the wrong cartridge to put in this one. If I did, I did. I'm sure I've got a filler so I can put diamine black ink in, or Noodler's black. Sort of like the adapter that you use to fill from ink bottles rather than cartridges. It's what I prefer to use for environmental reasons. As to my mind, fossil fuels are a wonderful source of chemicals and far more valuable for use for those chemicals such as pharmaceuticals, for example, and other things that we rely an awful lot on in modern life, and for burning. That's my point of view. You can disagree with me if you wish, but we need to find a way forward. So I've got these. Now then, do I want to put this in here, or shall I put, I think instead I'm going to put an aura this way instead of drawing another clear diamond, you know, clear square, or diamond inside. Do you know what I mean? Oh, to aura the square, like I did in the last one. I'm making no sense here. I am tired. But I'm determined to get a video out because it's been just over a week. When I've got this book finished, I'm hoping that you will get a video more frequently from me. Still mulling around in my head how I want to approach the this journal idea I've got. I mean, there's going to be so much drawing and tutorials, it's just going to be some paper crafting, I suppose, as well, and using things like distress inks. So in the corners here I'm going to use this red-brown, this ancient copper ink. It's not sparkly, honest, it's not a sparkly colour, but I think it looks so nice with black. Especially leaving the white, you know, the insides there, a lighter colour to contrast really well with the black. It's nice to put this colour in the corners. I did put this colour here on my sample yesterday, and I'll compare and contrast in a moment. But I found that this was too dark a colour, really, for that middle sort of like checkerboard pattern to show up. Have you been watching the Zentangle Project Pack 21? I certainly have, though I fell asleep through it last night when I went to bed to watch it. Fell asleep, so I had to watch. I was watching it at stupid o'clock once I'd changed the bed and cleaned my mess up, and kid you not, nightmare. I'll be fine in a day or two. Honest, I will. But it's all very interesting. It's interesting that they're doing something that was on my mind, you know? Kind of. Not exactly the same thing, but in a similar way. In fact, you know, when I was starting to get drawing the way I like to draw, it was about the same time they started developing Zentangle. And I hadn't heard of it for years and years and years. And when I found it, I went, hang on, that looks a bit like me, only a bit. I use things like that. And yet my inspiration had come from Romanesque and Gothic architecture and from nature and microscope and all sorts of things. Microscope slides and what have you. And sort of like, okay then, must be in the zeitgeist, picking it up, this is what's needed. Now I've put black on that one. I'm going to come back to this one. These are now completely dry, and you can see I've got plenty of sparkle there, and that glaze has sealed the glitter in. You can see there's no glitter coming off on my thumb. Actually, all the ink from yesterday's shenanigans filling pens up has gone now. Thank goodness for that. I went to bed with fingers this colour, so don't know whether it's all gone. You know, it does. So I do want to put some colour on this. Now, I am going to use this red gold, I think, because that would be consistent, wouldn't it? So I'm going to put dots in the middle of the black squares for sure. Do I want to put dots? And I might put dots here because we'll get to see the two different colours of this glitter pen then. I'll give that just a little bit of time just to dry. So that's fun. And as we do that, I'll leave those there and I'll bring this in. So this is today's version of this. Put them the other way around. And that one's not today's version of either of them really. It's how it worked out. I do like this one here with these diamonds in place because they pick out the pattern that exists between them, as it were, as well. It makes that jump out a bit. So perfect for adding shading to. I do want to add some black to this, and I think I know what I'm going to do with the black because I think it's such a nice contrast. It's a shame not to use it here. So I think I'm just going to add black in these sections. Actually, perhaps not the best of ideas. Perhaps I shouldn't have put black all the way across, but we'll have a look now. And this card is quite different to my usual kind of paper. It is cardstock. I've got a stash of all kinds of things from my experimenting with paper crafting and card making and so on. And every now and again I dig some of it out and make use of it. I think I've got it in the back of my mind. It's things like this I can use within the journal for various things, because this card is really quite sturdy. So I'm trying not to go over the red lines, the red-brown lines, the copper lines. It's not so easy, but I'm sure I can do it. So I hope you're all doing well. I should have asked right at the beginning, and that things are okay with you. If they're not, they're improving at least. Yeah. Art really is my solace. But lately, even not on my wobbly days, I haven't been able to do much art even. I just get so frustrated with myself. And so on days like that, it's actually really nice to do... Oh, there's a bit there I've missed. It's nice to do little small bits of art. I would never normally use bits of paper this tiny. 2 inches suits me actually. Any smaller than 2 inches and I get frustrated. Or, you know, just go, oh, is that it? 2 inches gives me more space to experiment and to add some details. I'm going to add gold, I think, on the top of this black here, some way or form, I think. Not sure this black was such a good idea, but it is what it is now. It's learning by doing, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Actually, it does show up quite nicely, doesn't it? Oh, that one clicks on. So shall I put some of this? I think I am. I'm going to use the red gold again, but I'm just going to put a dot at the base of these black sections, like an outlier from my central bit. Don't want it too big. And I will come back once it's dried with the glaze pen, which I now need to do with the other one. So we're swapping back and forth here today, which is fine. It's how it goes. So again, I'm going to just allow the glaze to flow over the top of the glitter pen spots, and it will dry clear, which you've seen, and protect this glitter so it won't go everywhere and won't get into the environment. Well, I guess it will eventually, because everything ends up returns to the environment in some way, shape or form. But at least it won't, perhaps hopefully it won't be quite in the form of tiny microscopic bits of glitter that get everywhere. So that's quite nice, and I'm going to have a look here, and I'm going to do these because they were only little, so, and if they haven't quite dried they should still be okay. I'll just let those dry now. I do want to introduce something here, and I'm going to put just a simple loop inside these petals, just to, they were feeling a little bit bare, so I just wanted to add some there again, just to bring the shape of these out more than anything else. And like so. And I think then we are done. Let me just check. I could do this on here, and I could do it on there with the black actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the points of the diamonds here and here with black. So it's another way to add contrast in. Like so. Don't know if you can see, there's the appearance of a square appearing in there. It's not a square I've drawn, but it's the illusion of. Yeah, you can see perhaps. And of course I now need to do half diamonds on these ones to complete the pattern. I could draw them going outside the lines to add some interest, but I quite like them just stopping there. It gives some darkness and weight, and just feels like everything within the square is then joined together somehow. Inky glue everywhere. You can see all the kinds of squares or diamond shapes coming out that weren't apparent before. And that's quite fun to do, just something simple like that. And I am going to go with these into the middle of these diamond shapes, I think, because I am not going to wrangle with gold leaf particularly, certainly not at the moment, given my incredible propensity for clumsiness again. But I'll leave that to dry. That looks good. Let me have a look at this. What can we do with this lot now? Is there anything I want to do with that one? Not really, actually. I think these are dry because the glaze is clear. It is. So, where do I have something I'm looking for? I've got this here. And I have, that'll do, a paper stump. So let's have a look at adding some shading. So I want to add some shading to the top and to the right here, as if we've got light coming in this direction. And I'm going to do that on each of these sections. And I am just blending the pencil in. I'm using a 6B Pitt graphite, matte graphite or graphite matte. So this is a matte graphite pencil. It's not as shiny as others. So I can do some shading, can't I? Yes, we can do some shading. Just like this. This just smooths it all in. Like so, and then like so. There we go. Just blend that in. Don't need to press hard, it's more to do with just moving it around, gently spreading it out, getting a smoother finish. Still like a bit of the texture in it though, I do have to say. It adds some more interest that way. So that's done like that. Now, I would like to put, which sides would I like the shading on? Again, I think I'm going to go with these two sides. As if they're more in shadow than the other side. I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe that I might need to add shadow to all four sides. I'll look up at my screen because sometimes seeing it on the screen I can see things in a different way. I'm not entirely sure that works, you know. It is what it is now and it's staying that way though. Alright, so I think I'll put some shadow in the bottom corner of the inner square here. So I think that might help a little bit. The worst comes to the worst. I'm going to get an eraser out. Oops, not that one, that's too big. This is a Tombow Mono 0 eraser. And it's got a really fine eraser on it, and I think it's an 0.4 millimeter, 4 millimeter. 0.4 would be very tiny, but I can just remove that I don't like with it. Actually, it doesn't leave any dust. How excellent! So that actually has worked quite nicely there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with those in there. That's looking, well, I think it looks quite good. Now then, I left those bits around the edge to dry, so I'm now going to go back and add some glaze, and they'll need to dry again. I'm really enjoying using coloured inks to draw with again. I haven't done this for a while. I get stuck in the way of using black, but these darker colours, like, and the more earthy colours, you know, natural colours I suppose, like this antique copper really suit me. I'm really happy with them. So that needs a little bit to dry. Let's have a look at this. Is there anywhere else that I'd like to add some shadow? That makes sense there, I think. Perhaps I can get a little bit going round the side here. And I think it might be, actually I think I was right with my first instinct with putting shadow at the top and to the side here. And I'm not going to put anything over the ink, it's just playing with that idea of shadow and highlights. I can't see the illusion, hopefully you can. I don't want to put anything in the middle. I think I want to leave as it is. Now then, what am I going to do with these? I do want to do something with them like this one, where I've mounted this on some craft card, but I won't get two on there. And in fact, well, it could be quite nice actually just to put the one on and then there's space underneath for perhaps some writing about it. I don't know. That graphite is quite shiny on here. It's not, I was saying it's not supposed to be. It's actually a Derwent graphic I picked up. I thought that was, didn't even look at it. So this is a normal graphite pencil. So it's going to be a bit on the shiny side, but wait. So I've got those. Right, I've got this one. I'm waiting for those to dry. Hopefully they should be dry, more or less. That red is lovely with that. What a good choice, Angela. Red gold. And it catches, gold catches the light as well in different directions. Yeah, it's dried. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some paper back. I've got to remember to bring some kitchen roll upstairs. Got a piece of kitchen roll, and what have I done with it? Where have I put it? Oh, there. This is something that came to mind. It's this stuff. It's Distress Microglaze. Judy Kins also do this. They've become ever so expensive because when I bought, well, they were expensive when I bought it. It's £8.49 now. Sort of like a lot of them are about £16-17, but I managed to get some for a lot less. And it is just, it's a micro wax or silicone polish of some kind. And it does smell a bit. And I'm just going to use some kitchen towel. This will take one of those foam blender tools, but I find I pick up far too much with that. And I just need, you don't need a big bit. So I've got a little bit on the end here. You can always add more. And I'm just going to apply it on top of this. And what it does is it seals everything underneath. Now this is picking up some of the graphite, which is what the grey colour is. Yeah, it's graphite grey. But none of the rest of it is affected at all. And the graphite hasn't been smeared all over the place. Well, I hope it hasn't. It may have been a little bit, but so little that you won't notice it. And this now is sealed, and it's water resistant, possibly even waterproof. It's got a different feel to it. It does feel quite shiny, but it's not glossy like the Mod Podge glosses, but there is a sheen to it. And the smell from it does fade. But now that is all completely sealed, and if anything, excuse me, that subtle sheen has brought the colours out as well. In fact, the black is looking a lot blacker now to my eyes and a lot less patchy like it was. So I'll use another side of this, and then there's no pencil on this one. I'm not putting any shading on this one. I could, but I'm not. And I'm just going to apply some of this microglaze. You don't need a lot. A pot like this will last you a very long time, and it works over all kinds of mediums. It's particularly good for water soluble ones. And with Distress Oxides, I've got some Distress Oxide coloured paper here. It actually brings the colours out far better. And that's, you know, it's polished this up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clean piece of paper, and that's the side that I added to this one. You can see there's a little bit of colour has been picked up, but hardly anything. It looks more because it's the... And then I'm just going to buff this in, take off any excess, and it's all done. I will keep it out, because let me go find... I have got plenty of bits with... Okay, let's try that one. Oh, that's been coffee attacked. In fact, I think they all have. They're sticking together. Oh yeah, look at that. Been attacked by coffee. So a lot of this is, and it's going to be a matter of winnowing out what is salvageable and what isn't. But it is what it is. So I've got two different kinds. These are Distress ink, which is transparent, and it's always water reactive, as are Distress Oxides. Distress Oxides have kind of got a chalky look to them. They feel different. They've got an almost velvety feel on the paper. But I understand if you use this on here, it actually helps the colours to show up, but also the colours in the underneath layers to show through. I'll do that again where you can see it. So if you look here, this edge, I'm adding some here, and it's subtle, or perhaps not so subtle, but it really does bring the colour out. You can draw on the top of it. I'd be tempted to leave it for a while, or use a pen that will draw on top of it. So something like a Posca pen may, but it'll take time to dry. Ordinary gel pens won't, Sakura pens won't. See, here I am here. You could barely see any brown there, but now the brown is showing through, and there's almost a translucency, so you can see it brings out the layers of colour. Now I only put one layer really of colour on here. There's places where I've added colours over the top of each other, and this really does help to bring this out. Again, you just need to buff it in. You can tell where this is because it feels a lot smoother and slicker. So there's nothing over here. It doesn't feel right. These feel the same all the way across, as do these. Great if you do envelope art. So if you're into sending letters and you like drawing on envelopes, decorating them, brilliant use for Zentangle, by the way, and writing pretty, writing in nice calligraphy or hand lettering of the names and addresses. This is a great way of protecting your art in the post, because it will, obviously if the envelope gets dropped in water, there's not a lot you can do if it seeps inside. But this will protect for splashes and rain and things in the post, which is great. And it came back to me, I remembered about it. I thought, oh, why didn't I think of this before? So I've got got Mod Podge, and I've got Liquitex varnish, which actually works quite nicely, but not with water-soluble inks and products, because it shifts them. Mod Podge shifts them, and the Liquitex is just as bad. So fine for things that are permanent, like Sakura microns and the like, and permanent inks and what have you, but not for water soluble. It's okay for watercolours as long as you don't overwork things, it seems. So there you are. I have got two pieces here. Would they look nice on there? Possibly. It's not too shabby, is it? Let's have a look on the other one. No, not fussed on either really, but I've got two little patterns here, and what I do want to do is I want to put them on something and have them as a card of some kind, or whatever, something to start populating a journal. I'm not really going to start on it until I finish Daydreams in a couple of days, but I do want to get some bits and pieces together to see. You can see, even though I've used that microglaze, the glitter still works. which is fabulous. Like the glaze, if I hadn't put the glaze on, the glitter would have been smeared everywhere. I remember this from when I used this before. And the same here, we've got, perhaps not as shiny as before you add the microglaze, but then perhaps I just need to buff it a little bit or leave the glaze to dry a lot longer than I have done. Yeah, there's still quite a lot of this coming off, so let's have a look. Oh, that's a bit better. So, not sure if you can put something like Mod Podge on. I might actually try that, because I did use microglaze on these. Oh no, here's an experiment, excuse me. I'm going to experiment with you, because, you know, well, I've just hit an hour of burbling. And I do mean burblings. What is it? Oh, it's 6:30 at night. But you may find me doing lots more videos like this where I burble and just do little things or create things and put things together. Take from it what you like is the answer. So just got a brush. It's quite damp actually, but that should be okay because this is now sealed with the stuff, and I'm just going to put some, this is Gloss Mod Podge, and hopefully this will stick to that stuff and give a nice shiny surface that will allow the glitter and so on. I obviously haven't sealed this very well because the ink's moving despite me using the microglaze on it. But that might work out okay. Right, let's give this a bit of a warm. If I can, what have I done here? Oh, as long as I didn't pour coffee in this. Don't think I did. Soon find out if it goes bang. Or water. Yeah, some of the ink smeared there, so I obviously didn't do a very good job of sealing the... Ooh, that smells as well. I think it's the paper, the craft paper. It does smell when it gets wet, you know, wet cardboard. Yeah, it's brought the shine back out. It has done that. And the glitter has got glaze on it as well. So that does work. Worked on that one. I'm wondering whether I hit that with enough enough of the microglaze. Don't know. That's interesting. There's food for thought for me. But those aren't the ones I did today. Always experiment, try things out and things you don't mind losing, because this one did get coffee hit. I'm saying nothing more about me and my disaster of me at the moment. I am terrible. I'm just tidying things away, yeah? Look at that. It's got all little bits of glitter on it. So goodness knows where that... It's probably from my fingers from working with these. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you found something from this. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Until then, take care and be creative. Bye-bye for now. Bye.